What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Mind Flux podcast. Guys, if this is your first time listening, flux means to change, to flow. And what this podcast is all about is bringing in those new perspectives on what people have been through to, push them to where they're going by changing their mind, choosing to change their mind, to change their life. And all of our guests, all of our episodes are meant to bring a new perspective of how to think about changing your mind, not what to think, so we can grow on this journey with you. As always, we're downtown in Indianapolis. We're in Wave 1 Media, Wave 1 Studios, right next to the Circle. It's a beautiful space. Can't wait till you guys come see us live. We got our audio brought by Benji Got Beats. I'm one of your hosts, T-Parm Teach, and my awesome co-host,
J-Matt. Bow.
So what do we got for him today?
Yeah, so we're super excited about this episode. We have Chelsea Guarriello. She's based out in L.A., super successful young woman, very inspirational story. She's a drop shipper. She went from 0 to 6 figures in 6 months. So I'm very excited for you guys to listen to this episode and learn from her. She had a lot of great things to say.
Yeah, me too. All right, we'll pass it over to the Zoom.
What's up, everybody? We're officially live with Chelsea Guarriello. I'm Tristan. I'm your host. Fresh from the studio to the Zoom screen, and
it's Josh here.
Awesome. Let's get started. Chelsea, tell us what you do.
I do e-commerce. Oh my gosh, e-commerce. It encompasses so many different things. Who would have knew? But ultimately, it all falls under the umbrella of e-com. I started off as a drop shipper, and that's kind of opened up a lot of different doors. Now I do some affiliate marketing. It's a whole world of e-com that I knew nothing about 2 years ago. So drop shipping primarily, digital marketing, marketing. So yeah.
Awesome. You said you got started 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
And to clarify for guests, like drop shipping, what's the difference in like e-com drop shipping versus just like selling your own clothes? What's the difference?
So drop shipping is actually selling products online with no inventory whatsoever. So you are working with a manufacturer who will deal directly with your customer kind of on your behalf. So it takes out a lot of the legwork of the traditional, business, storefront, boutique type of vibe that we think of. When we think of those things, we're like, oh gosh, inventory, storefront, business loan, rent, lights, overhead. So drop shipping kills all of that. I'm definitely grateful to have come up on drop shipping 2 years ago.
Yeah, thank God for the internet, right?
Yeah, right.
Thank God.
So, and we'll get into like how you even got started, but like let's rewind a little bit. Just tell us where you're from, kind of your background, and like how you even got started with dropshipping.
Okay, so my background, I'm originally from the Bronx, New York. I grew up in Florida. Once we moved there, I was like 10 years old. We moved to Tampa, Florida. Went to college in Tampa, went to USF, went to FSU. So, I spent a lot of time in Florida. Then I moved to Atlanta after I graduated from FSU, and I went to school for criminal justice and psychology. So something totally left that I do absolutely nothing with these days. I'm with the felon. I don't even know how any of this happened, but I rushed to get done with school, graduated early, did everything super overzealous. And then, I graduated in the heart of a recession, and it was like, what am I going to do? Can I curse on here, or is this like some... Okay, well, I'll try not to.
Whatever you need to do.
Oh, don't tell me that. I'll go spark up a blunt real quick. I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding. Anybody that knows me, anybody that works with me, they already know like what it is when we work together. So that's kind of what it is usually, but I'm gonna be good for y'all right now. So anyways, went to FSU, graduated early. It was a recession. Times were really, really hard. I didn't know what I was gonna do to make money. I was having a really hard time coming to grips with the fact that I had just spent so much time being a diligent student, a really good student, to hurry up and graduate only to have no doors open for me. That was very hard to take in. And so it took me a minute to kind of bounce back from all of that. And ultimately what it boiled down to was, I had to figure out what I was going to do to make money. And, the government was having a hiring freeze, which is criminal justice. I was trying to go that route. So sales basically is what it turned into for me, because that was the only thing I could find that, didn't have that ceiling that, every other job kind of has. And so sales, I'm sure y'all might have had some experience in sales. You can make a lot of money. You can, there's no ceiling, So I did sales for a while in kind of different avenues or whatever. And that was cool. But ultimately, it boiled down to my passion at the time was makeup. So, although makeup just wasn't going to pay the bills, I didn't know enough. I didn't have enough clientele at the time. It was kind of a hobby. I was always passionate about it, but I just didn't even know the first thing about how I would find the clientele to, do makeup on. So it was just kind of a dream lingering in the black background, while I found ways to pay the bills in Atlanta, basically. And so, so little by little, I finally made the leap into being a full-time makeup artist. I just, I didn't want to work retail anymore. I was working at Verizon at the time. I was about to get fired. Like, I just couldn't handle the pressure anymore. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to jump out there and I'm going to do makeup. Like, I had a couple clients. I was like, that was my first real taste of being an entrepreneur and being on my own with no, steady income or no guaranteed income. And it was hella scary for me. I didn't, as a single woman in Atlanta, you can imagine it was just like a whirlwind straight out of college. It was like, you think you're grown, you think you know everything, and then you're like, what is life? So, it was a lot of bumping my head, a lot of tribulations, a lot of bad times, but a lot of good times too. I learned a lot about myself and I met amazing people along the way. And, that's ultimately what led me to be able to do makeup in LA. So I'm very grateful for that. But yeah, so makeup was my introduction into being an entrepreneur. And, after about 8 years of being a makeup artist, moving out to LA and being a celebrity makeup artist, I thought that was my goal forever, to work with celebrities and be in like the limelight and like make these people beautiful, travel the world with them and like see my work on TV, billboards. Like, that to me, when I was living in Atlanta, was like that's all I wanted, until I realized like I'm still broke and like this is cool and all, but like they're rich and I'm broke and I'm making y'all look great and I'm broke. So after a while, it just really started setting in my mind, like, you're an entrepreneur and everything, but you're still the help. And for me, that was like a big, like, again, punch in the face again, like, wow, something I once again aspired to do for so long. It started to feel like a job and it started to feel like people were taking me for granted a little bit, especially when the money was involved. And it kind of made me reanalyze everything. And so I was still doing it to pay the bills, but at the end of the day, it was running dry for me. I knew it was only a matter of time. So that's kind of when, ironically, my best friend, I met in Atlanta, who had moved to LA on his own situation, was coming home from prison. And so we were best friends, while he was locked up, we wrote each other. We were just very, very close. And so I had made the transition to LA, like I said. And so when he came home, it was just like perfect, like one of my closest friends, plus me being out here, not really having anybody who I felt really, at home with. And so basically, long story short, now we're together. That's the father of my child, and but it was hard. Him coming home from prison was a big sacrifice that I had to make, whether I wanted to deal with someone like that or in a situation like that. And if it wasn't for the fact that we had been best friends previously and I knew the whole situation, you know, I wouldn't have gone down that road at the age that I was when I did. You know, that's stuff you do in your 20s when it really doesn't matter. But when you're a grown ass woman and you want a family and stuff, that's not really the first lane you hop in. So it was a big decision. It was a big moment in my life to really have to think, like, you know, for my future, but also think about, you know, the type of person that I wanted to marry one day and the type of person I want to have kids with. And he fit all of that. So we decided we were going to, you know, do it and figure it out. And then, you know, shortly after that, life settled in and we were just like, what the, like, how the heck are we going to do this? Because it's one thing to go to prison and come home with a lot of plans and a lot of ideas for yourself and your family. But when you come home after living in Atlanta, you get locked up and then you come home to being in LA, you might think things are going to be easy or whatever. But when you get these bills, these LA bills aren't nothing to play around with. So, you know, I think reality hit us really fast. And it was a matter of like, okay, well, like, what are our options? You know what I'm saying? He got locked up for money related issues. You know, he's used to having a certain type of lifestyle. He's used to living and making a certain amount of money. And it's like, I was doing makeup. I was making a decent wage for a single female in LA, but two people, no, it's just, so, you know, it got to a very low point in our relationship, not so much me and him as partners, but just life in general. Like, wow, like, you really are a Black felon in America. Like, I'm fucked and you're fucked. Like, what did we just do, you know? And we really had to think about it and get creative. And, you know, like most of us, we don't read books. We don't do all the resourceful things that we're supposed to do that other cultures do. No offense. It's actually a really good thing. We need to do more of things like that. But I'm just saying, like, typically we don't, you know, and that's why I feel like we miss out on so many opportunities that other people, other cultures, other groups, whatever, do. And so anyway, we started reading books, and I get asked this all the time, what book was it? And I just cannot for the life of me remember. But it was a book. It was probably like this thin. It was a little paperback book, and the title was something along the lines of like, you know, like 1,000 Ways to Make Money from Home, or, you know, some bullshit book like that you overlook. And I got it because it was like cheap on Amazon. And at the time I was broke. I'm like, something's got to give. I need God, show me a sign. So I like read this book, right? And it's literally one by one up into like 1,000 or 100, whatever it was. And I'm reading each one like, I'm not about to babysit. I'm not about to pick up dog poop. I'm not about to go walk dogs. I'm going through, I'm at the last page and I'm like,
nothing's gonna work.
I'm like, I'm just destined to be broke forever. Like, this is not gonna, you know? So finally, it was like maybe the fifth one from the bottom, and it was like dropshipping. First of all, the name, I was like, that sounds cool. Like, what's that? Dropshipping. So each one had like a paragraph under it where it gave like a brief description. And I was like, I kind of like the sound of that. And it sounds like a broke person can do that. So I'm going to try that. And so I remember I told my boyfriend about it, and he was just like, no startup money, like no this, no that, no loan, no that. Okay, we qualify for all of those. So how can we get started? Yeah. And so from there on that day, literally my world became obsessed over e-commerce, drop shipping, Shopify, all of that. And I just never would have. I'm so grateful for that little paperback book because, yeah, it really changed my life, being exposed to it and taking initiative more than anything, because it could have been one of those things that I just overlooked and just said, yeah, I'll do that tomorrow. But you know how it is when your back is up against the wall, you don't really feel like you have till tomorrow. So you make it happen like now. So right. We jumped right in and bumped our heads, fell down the stairs, got hit by semi-trucks the whole way until finally it was like, something's got to give. I have to find somebody who knows what the hell they're talking about, and I need them to help me. And I will give them the nothing that I have, but I'm going to beg and then, you know, figure it out. And that's just what it was. I lost thousands of dollars. I lost basically most of my savings, which at the time wasn't much, but I mean, it was enough to be a couple $1,000s, you know, at the time. So it was scary. It was scary times, you know, but when you have a partner you're doing things with, it does make things a little bit easier, who can help support you and work their asses off a little bit extra to throw you some money to put towards this or towards that, you know. So I thank God for him. You know, I was the ones that was more hands-on with the learning parts of it, while he was focused on doing his odd jobs to scrape up money for me to experiment with. There were so many times I'd be like, babe, I need, you know, I think I can run this $50 ad and maybe I'll get some data. And he's just like, another $50? What happened to the last $50 yesterday? And I'm like, we got some add to carts. I don't know. Like, it was bad. It was so bad.
Wow.
But at the end of the day, he didn't know what the hell I was talking about, but he held it down. So, you know, he was personal training when he first came home. That's what he was working out crazy in prison. So he came home like, you know, I could get some clients, and he made it do what it do. And he threw me enough money to really get my feet wet with it. And within 6 months we made 6 figures, and I just never, ever thought I would be able to do that. I mean, wow. I did deep down knew I was going to like make it one day, whatever. But once them sales started coming in, finally, it just made me feel like unstoppable. Like I could do anything. Like I've been from the bottom to like, wow, somebody in a whole nother part of the world just bought something that I sold them that I didn't even have. Like I didn't even buy it and I sold it. Like that to me was like, heaven opened up and was like, bitch, you made it. So, you know.
That's awesome. So it's crazy too, because like, you know, you purchased a book, like you had no idea what was going to come from it. And it like literally just like changed like the trajectory of your life. So speak on the importance of investing in yourself, because it happened by accident, but I'm sure like after that happened, you realize like how crucial that is. Like,
so crucial. Like, now, anytime I'm feeling down, anytime I'm kind of confused about life, anytime I need like to pull back and like reassess things, I'll go and I'll buy a book on Amazon, Audible. Now, I'm not going to say I have finished them, because I'm like a chronic, I'm like a shopaholic, but not when it comes to clothes and shoes anymore. Now it's like courses and ebooks and fucking every ad that comes my way, I'm like, yes, shut down. Like that, I'm the biggest sucker, and I do it. Like, so I don't even know why I fall for it, but it's like the right people are targeting me because I want what you got. Like I'm
right.
I want to learn it all. I think, you know, it's just, it takes a different type of person who's like inspired by knowledge and inspired by like staying abreast of like what's new. I'm not like a big techie person, like, oh, what's the latest this or I don't know shit about shit really, but I just know that like when you want something and you want to learn something, you have to do your due diligence. And, you know, for me, that was drop shipping, and I just laser focused and I went hard. Anything drop shipping related, groups on Facebook, books, ebooks, newsletters, whatever that was drop shipping, the focus groups. I signed up the meetups in LA. Like I went and met with strength. That's not even me. Like that's not my personality, but we would get up like, look, there's some meetup in Santa Monica. Like I don't even know who's going to be there, but like maybe we should go. We went. It was so weird, but it was cool. Like we met people who did what we did finally in real life, like in person. Because before that, it was just YouTube, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you know, that was a big issue for me personally, not had ever being a real entrepreneur. Makeup was cool, but it's a totally different ballgame when it's like you're about to learn something new. Like makeup, when you have a skill, it's like, cool, you're about to go do that full time now. That's great. But when you have to like learn something, build something from scratch and like lay bricks for some shit, that's a whole nother level of business, mindset, action, everything. And so, you know, it starts with the baby steps, going the free shit. You could go to a meetup, you know, in your city. And the mental part is the hardest part, you know, kind of like the gym, which I haven't mastered that part yet. But like in your mind, if you just tell yourself like, look, this is awkward, you know I don't know anybody there. Like, I know, you know, it's 30 minutes away and maybe a flop, but if I do go and I meet one person, that one person might say one thing that could change my business forever. And honestly, I did meet somebody there who gave me amazing advice about upsells. I think before that, I didn't know anything about upsells. When he told me that, I'm like, up what? What's that? Like, my mentor didn't teach me about that. Can you put me on? For sure. Now we're face to face, game changer. Like, you have to put yourself in situations to be exposed to those game changing moments, because if you don't, then it's like, you only know what you know. You know what I'm saying?
And you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And that's what we talk about on the show, like the information and the people. Like, and that's part of like the voice of our show, is to bring those people together, because like we're in the information age. And so we're losing the fact that like every dollar you need, every problem you need solved rests in somebody else's pocket or in somebody else's head. Like, it's not like we have all that information, but applying it as a human being is different. You need other human beings who have applied it to do it. And like, we've shared that so many times. We're actually writing like the introvert's guide to meeting new people and events, like right now, as a tool for people.
Yeah.
So like that is spot on. And the second thing that like I thought of, like I had all kinds of thoughts while you're talking, but
my thoughts.
Yeah, I know. The next thing that I like really took away is Naveen Jain. He's an Indian billionaire. Yes, he's on.
I'm supposed to shit in a bag and send it off in something.
Exactly. He's on a mission to end disease, and like he has like the plan, the business, the people, the money to do it. But one thing he's
a doctor.
Exactly.
With people who know what he's talking about, and they're executing it and making it happen with him. Like, that's
exactly like the ultimate entrepreneurship, solving problems on a world level. And what he spoke about, one thing when he said on stage that like has like really set in the past couple of weeks is like, everybody's looking for their passion, right? And and then like some people, they may find their passion. Like you even said, I'm super passionate about makeup, but the passion doesn't always lead you to where you want to be, because you'll follow a passion around, just like a relationship. And so a passion could be healthy or bad. He says you have to find your obsession. And what flipped for you is like, once you saw this one little tab, you went from a little bit more information from passion to all of a sudden obsession, where it was completely emotionless, until you lost money or won money. But it was an obsession of like, this is a real thing, and I am going to figure it out for myself. And I'm going to figure it out for the people around me. And the emotions come second, the passion comes second. And then all of a sudden it turns into a passion, obsession, and fulfillment. And like, it's just awesome.
And amazing. Like, honestly, when you put it like that, it just gives me chills, because hearing that like reality transcribed into words and put like when he said it, it made me be like, holy shit, like I'm gonna be so rich. Because I don't ever hear anybody talk about fuck passion. Everybody's passion. Bitch, passion had me fucking broke. Like, that pisses me off. I'm tired of hearing about passion and like, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? Oh, well, just don't worry about, just do whatever, your heart. What? Like, no. So once I heard him say that, I was like, oh my God, it's okay for me to feel like that. It's okay for me to tell people like, I'm not passionate about makeup anymore. And even if I was, like, it wasn't making me no real bread. Like, I had to keep it moving. Like, to me, I'm still nervous about the reactions I'm going to get, like people who put me on in the makeup world. And it's like, I'm so grateful for that. Don't get me wrong. And that really was what I was passionate about. But it's like, I'm trying to make a legacy out here. I'm trying to really leave something for my kid, and for, I'm trying to teach some people some shit, and like you just said, education, information, that's $1 billion industry. And so, this is my new passion, 100%. And obsession is what got me here. I super got obsessed. I guess I'm prideful too. So it's like, I learned something, I got exposed to something that sparked an interest, and I took immediate action, full force. Like, granted, I didn't have anything to fall back on regardless. You know how people get distracted and people, whatever. I didn't have the cushion. I didn't have the comfort zone back here. Like, oh, if that doesn't work out, you could just do this. I guess I had makeup, but in my mind, I didn't, like, it wasn't enough to pay. No. So I needed this to work. And I got so obsessed. I dropped weight. Like, when I tell you I was losing weight, people were like, are you okay? And I'm like, yes, I'm fine. Like, I'm better than I've ever been. Why? Like, broker than hell. Like hadn't slept and probably literally people, it was crazy. Like my boyfriend, babe, you gonna come to sleep? No. Why would I sleep? Am I done? Like, why are you asleep? Like, let's talk about that. Like, we just get into it. He'd be like, babe, we gotta sleep, babe. Like, come on. Like, I gotta go train in the morning to give you $50 for fucking ads. Like, you gotta sleep, you know? And so I super obsessed over it, you know, and when like I said, that first sale just made it all worth it for me, and it made me just want to go so much harder. And, you know, now that I'm teaching other women, I mean, I teach everybody, men and women, but now that I'm a new mom, women have a super soft spot. You know, for me, moms do. I used to think that shit was so corny until I almost died giving birth. And then it was like, oh, wow, like women really are fucking superheroes. Like not, I know it's like, I don't know, it kind of feels corny. It feels so cliche and like men, kings, women, queens. But like when I tell y'all a woman, like even if y'all knew what I went through to have my child, it's like, it's amazing feeling and so empowering to know that like we as people, we're capable of so much. We're capable of so much, and we can really move mountains by our passions or our obsessions. And like people will listen to us if you have a message. I mean, that's why celebrities, that's why Donald, everybody, we have a message. And it's like if you choose to use your passion or your message or whatever to actually take action and help change people's lives, like it's monumental. And like the blessings just come in. I mean, you guys have a podcast. This is dope, and it's, you know, super dope. You're exposing word to masses. That's so powerful, you know. And just seeing people limit their own creativity in their own minds, that hurts my heart, you know, because people don't even know like the things that I've been through. They don't know the things he's been through, the things we've seen, the things I'm sure y'all have seen. But it's like we still got here. Like we can't make excuses and live in our past anymore. Now we just have to fight the fight, get through it, and then use that as your testimony later. But you don't have time to keep crying about some shit. Like you have to pick up the pieces and figure it out, you know? And so, yeah, I love what I do. I love meeting people like you guys. Like this space has turned into such an amazing like family because it's like so many like-minded people that are all hungry. And, you know, that's why I created my course. That's why I have such a tight affiliation with my students, because I just feel so honored that people are actually like investing in themselves, but because of me, like right. I'm the vessel that's inspiring people to actually put their hard-earned dollars like into something because I'm telling them that it worked for me, you know? And that to me is just like, oh my God, thank you. Like, thank you for letting me expose people to what helped me so much in my life. You know, I'm just so grateful for that, really.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. So, as you talked about your struggle, and what we tell people is to like, before you hit like that, you know, massive, you know, quantum leap, you know, it's always going to be like the hardest. So before that quantum leap happened for you, kind of explain where your mindset was. Like, did you feel like, man, is this even it? Or like, what kept you going until you like hit that point? Cause like some people it happens sooner, some people it happens later, but like, what was it like for you right before that leap, that quantum leap for you?
Right before things actually started to like make sense financially, I was tired. I mean, to be honest, there was never a time where I was going to give up. Like, I will say that, like, there were stressful times where, you know, the lack of sleep and like the hunger and all that was playing a major role on my brain. And it was like, Chelsea, like, you know, would it be easier to get a job? Like, yeah, he can't get a job, but you can get a job. Like, you know, Mac is asking for you to come back. You know, this show wants you. Like, you are turning down some opportunities, you know, like, are you sure this is what you want to do? And honestly, the scariest part for me was not knowing anybody in real life, because it messed with my brain a lot. I was like, you know, I'm on YouTube, see all these young boys doing something that I never even heard of. And I'm like, so off top, you start with the telling yourself like, oh, they're young. They're like 17, 18, 19. They're learning about this in school. That's why they get it. Like,
Right.
Of course. Like, he's in college now. He's learning about that in his electives or whatever the fuck, you know? So your mind starts to play all these excuses. Oh, his parents, he's rich. His parents, this e-com shit, he would have made it regardless. So you start to play tricks on yourself and find excuses for why maybe it won't work for you. And I think the hardest part, like I keep trying to say, is that I didn't know anybody in real life that was ever like, oh, how'd you make it? Oh, I do e-commerce. That for me would have been so helpful to know that this was a real thing. But for me, instead, I would go on YouTube, I would see these boys, and then I would follow them on, or I would at least go check up on them on Instagram. And I started to it was even worse once I did that, because then you see the comments and you see that this one knows this one and this one. Hey, bro, good, nice post. Hey, oh, I love your video. Oh, and I'm like, hold on. Now things are getting sketchy. Like, you know him and he knows you and did it. So are y'all just like, is this a scheme? Like, just, is this some type of alliance? Like, do you want me to just pay to get in and I'll vouch for y'all? Like, how does this work? So that for me really was like, I'm losing money over here. I'm like trying to run ads, how y'all are telling me to run ads. I'm losing money. Now I see y'all are friends. Like, is this real? So more times than not, I remember me and my boyfriend had a heart-to-heart one time, and he's just like, babe, like, we're spending so much money on ads. Like, our rent is almost $3,000. Like, you keep asking me for money for ads. Like, are you sure? Like, are you really sure that this is not a scam and it's real? And I'm like, at the end of the day, no, I'm not fucking sure. Like, and it made me so nervous and scared to have to tell him that I'm using money that he was literally putting labor. I mean, it's one thing for me to be behind a computer all day, every day, hours and hours, but he was going in and putting in real physical labor work. And to see my boyfriend do that made me, he started Ubering. I'm like, this is not life, especially when I knew deep down that he can get money in a matter of a couple of seconds, how he used to get money, and I knew that was probably playing in the back of his mind 24/7. Like, why am I driving this fucking Uber when I could just do this and get this and both be straight, So the fact that like we both kept so strong and we're just like, we're not going to go that route. We're not going to go that route. And even if it is not real, like, just give me one more month. And I remember I told him, I'm like, look, one more month of another Shopify payment, another this, you know how it is, all the fees add up, and then you're looking and you're like, wow, I've really spent how much and I haven't even made a sale yet. So there were plenty of times where I had those moments of like, is this real? But it was never a moment of like, I can't do it no more. It was just like, man, I just need to know that there's like somebody I know personally has done this in real life, And so once I started working with my mentor, and, my first sales started coming in, that's when, I just remember our first $20,000 month, that was our first 30 days in. And I just remember he looked at me and he was like, this is real, huh? And I was like, I think we did it. And we just like hugged. I remember we were in the closet. Like, it was so weird. We were just like putting laundry away, and he's just like, so like our phone is cha-ching, cha-ching, all throughout the day. And we're just like, finally in a moment, we're in the same place, folding clothes in the closet. And we're just like, that's us. Like,
it's working.
It was great. So, it was a lot of hard times, like I remember I tell my students all the time, like I had my store up and launched for 6 whole months before I actually bit the bullet and hired my mentor to do mentor me basically. So, a lot of people, newbies, don't realize like your store could be up all day. If it's not being marketed, you're not going to get a sale, but you get these sales here and there from your friends, your family. You're like, oh, okay, but I never really counted that. Obviously it's friends and family, but it took 6 months for me to really come to grips with like, okay, this car's not going to move until I actually pay more money.
Right.
And so, that initial investment into my mentor was scary as hell, because that investment to me was gigantic and it was nothing compared to what I was about to spend on ad spend. So hearing, yes, you need to pay me, and then yes, you also need to pay for your ad spend budget, to me was like, is this a scam? Can I trust you? You're a guy, like I'm a girl, like you do this, I'm new to this, are you gonna play me? Like, are you really gonna help me? As a woman, we're so used to getting taken advantage of, like, unfortunately, that we're always skeptical, we're always scared, we always think something's a scam or too good to be true or whatever. And so, I'm glad that, I had the support, and I ended up hiring him, and I was able to actually see that return on my investment. But I'll never forget how scared I was and how long I dragged it out. He used to call me like every 3-4 weeks and be like, hey, running ads yet? And I'd be like, no, maybe next week, like holding on to my money, like so tight, like, please, I'm not ready. And he used to just be like, oh, okay, another month of not making money. Like, yeah, you're holding on to your money. That's great. But you're not making money. That money is not turning into more money for you. You're just holding it. So it really took 6 whole months of him calling me every few weeks to keep reminding me. And then one day I'm just like, you know what? He's right. I still am holding on to the same money I was holding on to 4 months ago, 5 months ago. Let me just test and find out. And I think it was 12 days left of that month. I blew $1,700 that same month. And the rest of those days, I blew $1,700 trying to figure out AdWords on my own. I was like, okay, look, before I bite the bullet, I'm going to spend my last on some AdWords and try to figure this out. This boy on YouTube just did it. I could do it. Blew $1,700. Brandon was about to kill me. I was like, okay, this is bad. This is bad. So I had another $1,000. That's what he wanted. I was like, I had never paid $1,000 for anything in my life at that point, besides rent. Never. So this boy is asking me for $1,000, and all I see is him on Instagram with a bunch of other YouTubers, Laffy, Kiki. I'm like, I'm really about to give him $1,000. He lives with his mom. I'm over here barely able to pay my rent. Like, is this gonna be okay? And, with a few days left of the month, we made $3,400 in those few days. And that's when I was just like, thank you, Jesus. Because that made up for a lot of my loss. You know what I mean? To me, it felt like thousands and thousands, but ultimately, in hindsight, 2,000-3,000 probably did go down the drain while I was doing things by myself, which I don't care how much money you have, $2,000 or $3,000 is a lot of money to just flush down a toilet. But now in hindsight, looking at it like, wow, e-com overall has made me over $100,000 in the last 70 days is like 2,000 to do this, like to be in dingy ass t-shirts and like baby toys everywhere and just live a normal, like, but just chill, carefree life, you know what I'm saying, where I could just be high every day talking to people like you guys this is my type of fucking party. Like, thank you, Jesus. I feel so blessed. Like, I just want everybody to be able to do this and to never think anything is a scam, because shit do be hella scammy, but just, you have to take chances, you have to really take chances and trust your gut and your heart. And, even if you do take a chance and you bump, it's a flop or whatever, it's like, okay, lesson learned. Like, don't carry that same energy onto the next opportunity, because you're only hurting yourself. Like, I get comments all the time when I talk to potential students and we talk about investing. And I heard a comment the other day that just irked me. And the question was like, are you willing to invest in yourself if you find out that my program is the best fit for you? And this person wrote me and was like, I'm in the business of making money, not spending it. And I was like, oh, bendito, like, that's so sad. Like, it just hurt my heart that, like, I used to be like that, it's just like a mixture of ignorance and just self-doubt and a whole bunch of just whatever bundled up into somebody that's not ever going to really make it. And that makes me really sad, because I want everybody to make it. But ultimately, it boils down to the way you process and the way you think about life. And if that's the mindset you have, I could try to help you, but I'd rather, at this point, it's just easier to deal with the people who have already made that transition on their own. And I don't want to ever be pitchy or salesy. I want the people who have actually come into that natural awakening of like, I want to get here. And in order to get here, I have to invest something, the people that have come to that light on their own, those are the people I want to work with, because I don't ever want nobody to feel convinced by me, beg, nothing. Like, you have to see the value of what I can bring to the table, or what being an entrepreneur and a hardworking entrepreneur can bring to the table for you. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and that brings like so many points like to the table. Like one is obviously the importance of mentorship. Like that can't be overlooked. Like we talk about that all the time, and like that's what we hope our show provides is like micro mentorship to teach people a little bit of how to think, right? Because like you're already watching some ads, right? You knew what to think, but you didn't know how to implement it, and like the people with that information cut that curve. But I think the most important thing is not even necessarily the risk you kept yourself in, but you refuse to regress. Like you would only move forward. And like, that's what this show is about. Like change, like flux means to change and to flow, to change your mind. So like this show is like if the whole thing about mind flux is like, if my life is not where I need to be, like I need to change something, but it always needs to go forward, right? Yeah. You guys, you said you could have easily went back to what put you in the situation you were in. Like your boyfriend doing all this work for you with a lot less effort could have easily put himself at a risk to go back to prison to make the money. But you guys refuse to regress. Like you just one more month. Like that's not it. Like if other people are doing it, we can too. Like we can do anything. Like staying in that mind frame that like we cannot go backwards. Like I got to learn something. I got to invest something. We got to do something, but it's got to go forwards. Like that clearly didn't work. We're not going to go back to it. I think that is like the most important lesson learned. Like, and what happens naturally for people who say, like the people who say, I'm in the business of making money, not spending it, right? Like they're in that state of regression. Like they're in that state of, or just no progress. If you're not going forward, you are going backwards because everything else is still moving.
Yeah.
And I think that is like one of the coolest parts about your story is that like you guys really you could have made it easier at any moment, but you refused to.
Any moment. And it would have really took very little when you talking about a whole professional. Okay. This man was used to a lot of money. Okay. So, and you know, that just puts so much pressure on me too. I mean, not in a bad way. But in my mind, knowing how easy it would be to just make that quick little flip, I felt like I needed to figure this out right now, or I could possibly risk that because at the end of the day, I wasn't the one putting in the labor. He was. So at any moment, you know, I just knew he's probably going to get fed up with this. And he's probably all my failures, or not failures, but all my not figuring it out yet is probably really discouraging for someone like him in his position to be fresh home from prison with all these excited ideas and to see those already flopping because you're in LA and it's like, okay, that sounded good, but that's not really what it could be right now. So for me, it was just like, whoa, if I don't show this person that like this is a real thing, then he's going to feel pretty defeated probably. And really, you know, have to come to terms with the fact that a decision that he made so many years before has really affected him for the rest of his life. And, you know, I was with him every day at the halfway house, picking him up, driving him to this place, that place to apply, and just seeing him walk back to the car like, they don't accept felons. No. And just being in the car, quiet, no radio, no nothing, on the way to the next location that his probation officer gave him to go apply, and just feeling so like, you know, me, like, you know, that's my best friend, but maybe we shouldn't be together. Maybe I should just be his homegirl. Like, I don't know if I really can do this, you know, but being like, I could never leave him. Like, if I were to have left him back then, it's just like, what would he have done? You know, I mean, he's super strong. Probably he would have figured it out, but it's just the fact that like, I was feeling defeated for him. You know, who knows what he was thinking, but just when all those doors keep closing on you, you know, I was just like, I have to figure something out. Like, this has to work. Like, America cannot be this fucked up. If just because you fuck up one time, like, I have to figure this out. So the fact that it really proved itself to be a real thing, that all it took was like, heart. I will say that it took a lot of heart, but it just took, like you said, constant progression. You know, the days that I felt the most tired, the days that I felt like, you know, I didn't want to do this shit right now. Like, I need a break. I watched YouTube all day. Like there was no break, bitch. Like no break. Like literally no breaks. The days that I wanted to do nothing, I literally would be like this in my bed watching every YouTube, every Hayden, every damn everything until my eyes felt like they were bleeding. Like that was a down day for me. You know what I'm saying? And you can't let up. That is the difference. You know, like I talk to so many aspiring entrepreneurs, and anytime we talk, it's like, they're here, they're there, they're doing this, they're doing that. And I'm like, when are you actually like grinding? Like you're on this trip, you're here at this mall, you got this on, you're always in the mix, any party, any club, any concert, whatever. But it's like, how do you get money for real? Because entrepreneur, this shit takes work, unless you've been at it for like years and it's automated or something, you know, by then. But it's like, ultimately, there is no breaks. Like I could be on vacation. Yeah, it looks good, but best believe my phone is in my hand 24/7 because I'm checking on something. Like, yeah, there are no breaks. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially, you know, when you're building and you're broke and you're not where you need to be, why are you doing anything other than building? I really don't get people, that's like a big pet peeve of mine when people, because I know what it's like to say, if I say I want something, I'm going to go bonkers getting it. So when someone else next to me is like, yeah, I want this, but then I see their actions are that, it blows me, because I'm like, don't come to me crying. Don't come to me telling me, oh, why isn't it working? Oh, because it's like, I've been there and I did something about it. Like, you're pissing me off. I don't work with people like that. I don't talk to people like that. That's why I talk to everybody before they enroll in my course. I'm not like these other people that just put a link in their bio and be like, go sign up for my course and blah, blah, blah. Then you never hear from them again. No, I protect my energy 100%. And I try to protect the energy around me and the people that I bring into my circle. So I need to make sure that the people that are enrolling in my program have the right mindset, because I'm about to expose them into a whole group, a whole pool of hungry fucking people. And they're people that really believe in themselves enough to invest into me in my course. So I'm not trying to have that exposed to just anybody who's on the fence and pessimistic or negative or self-doubt. No, we can talk. We'll have a quick little 15-minute therapy session. But if you're not right for me and the clan, the tribe that I'm over here trying to build and empower, then baby, you might need to, like, we'll work together in the future, you know. But it's like my mindset's too strong, and I'm trying to breed winners. I'm trying to breed women who, if they find nothing else in my course helpful, if they don't even want to do drop shipping after, that's fine. But at the end of the day, they're going to graduate from my program feeling like they can accomplish anything because they at least took that step to believe in themselves. Most of them are doing this for the first time. Most of them, I'm their very first experience. And I just remember how my first experience went and how much, you know, even though me and that person, like, we no longer have like that a relationship or anything, that was my first step into trusting another individual to teach me something that could change my life forever. And he did that. You know what I'm saying? He did that. So anything that happened after is, to me, he will always be that person like, wow, yeah, you charged an arm and a leg, but it was so, I don't, thank you. Like, thank you for being on, helping me, period. So I'm so grateful that now I'm that to so many people, because 100 years from now, they can look back and be like, wow, I remember I bought something from that girl and she made me just, at the very least, she made me feel confident that I could do something. You know what I mean? Like, that to me is everything. So.
Yeah. And I love how you said the confidence in themselves and the confidence in themselves and the confidence in themselves to invest. And then it's the confidence in the other person. Like, you cannot bring yourself to understand the value of somebody's $1,000 course or $10,000 course or $40,000 coaching or whatever it is if you have not brought yourself to be able to look at yourself. Like if you don't have that confidence in this obsession, you cannot grasp when people are telling you what you need to do. And like Myron Golden spoke about that multiple times. He's a coach in one of the programs we're in, and the guy charges like $25,000 an hour. And one of the things he shared was one thing that, you know, the truth is met at the level it can be understood, right? So the truth is the truth until you learn some more, and all of a sudden it becomes a little bit more true, right? Just like reading a book. just like reading really anything over and over again, your level of understanding of the same truth, the same words become different. And the other thing he says is like everything in nature and in life has to go down before it goes up. Making that investment, making that emotion, transitioning into confidence. Like you have to feel those feelings before you can really appreciate being up here. Like even if you made that money doing the other things, how would it have affected your life if you hadn't experienced being all the way down here and knowing what you needed to do with it from then on? Now for your family, like for your child, like it's just such a beautiful thing.
It's crazy. No, 100%. Oh, I agree 100%. And also, self-accountability, being real with yourself is a hard skill. I don't know, a hard thing to like look yourself in the mirror and know like you're not one of those people. I talk about this all the time who like we just talked about it, who say, yeah, I want this and it's not working and whatever. You really have to analyze what it is that you're doing on a day-to-day, what it is that the energy that you're accepting into your mind, the things that you're watching, the things that you're listening to, the people you're around. All that stuff sounds so bogus. And if you had good parents who probably grew up hearing that, your whole childhood, don't hang out with these type of people and stuff like that. And, it's so true. When you get to a certain point in your life and you're not comfortable, you're not where you want to be. And then you look around to the people next to you. Obviously, if they're with you, they're not where they want to be either, because if they were on, they wouldn't be hanging out with somebody who wasn't on. Like, it just doesn't work that way. They're probably going to be with their friends at work or getting money or doing something that they have in common. So if you're not doing anything with your life and you're unhappy, the person next to you is probably in the same boat. The person next to him is probably in the same boat. And now y'all are all just doing nothing together. So that's like a really toxic environment and a toxic situation. And I feel bad for those people who haven't, like, the light bulb hasn't gone off yet. Like, damn, what the hell am I doing? And what are they doing? And what are we doing collectively? Like, all it takes is for one person to switch up the routine and do something new. We're all leaders. We all have it in us. It's just we don't all act on it. So, we all have this whole influencer thing blows me. Like, we all have an influence, period. I don't care if you have 5 followers or even 1 follower. You're still an influence to that one person. You could still say, hey guys, did you see that show on Netflix? And one person's going to see it and be like, what show? Now you're an influencer to that one person. Like, I don't give a fuck. This whole influencer thing that these young people be on is so weird and annoying these days. Like, I really don't get it. That's a separate podcast. But anyways, self-accountability and just really being 100 about what you say you want versus the actions that you're going to be willing to take to get there, because it's not a pretty road. Like, the road to success, the road to being an entrepreneur, that shit is ugly, scary. It's all of the above, but it's like, if you prevail, that shit is so beautiful. It's so worth it. Like, you just have to really, really zone in and hone in on your why, whatever your reason is that's going to keep you going every day. When things get really hard and tough, it's that one thing that you can really go back to and think about, that you're like, I cannot give up. Like, no way. Even though, giving up might be this, but like, if failing this person or my baby, my mom, or whoever is your why, letting that thing down is 50 times a million more hurtful than it would be just to simply, you know what I'm saying? Like, your why has to be bigger than anything. And for me, I think at the time I didn't have my baby yet, but for me, my why was 100% keeping him out of prison and from relapsing. And secondly, I think it's that I just wanted I wanted to be the person that really showed him, like, don't worry, like, we got this, like, don't worry, like, one fuck up in life, like, you got the right one. You got the right one. Okay. Like, I'm not going to let us fail. We're going to be good. But, I really want more people to understand what it takes to just say, I want to make it, or I want $1,000 a month or a week, or I want $1 million in a year. Like, that sounds really great. No problem. That sounds good. Now what? Like, okay. And what now? So make a fucking plan, and every single day, chop that shit up into 12 months, chop it up into, you know what I'm saying? Do the math. It's all a numbers game. Get out your little handy dandy calculator and focus and write down what you need to do and put that plan into action. I don't care if it's you and your best friend, you do half, I do half, let's meet in the middle, we gonna get it done. Like, you have to actually physically do stuff to get to the finish line. And I tell people that every day. If somebody's gonna hand you a mentorship or a blueprint or a cheat sheet, that's essentially giving you a roadmap. So if you said, hey, Chelsea, I want to go to Florida. And I said, okay, here's a map that's going to take you there. It's going to take you 12 hours to get there. And you really want to get to Florida, why would you go to sleep and take a nap and like be like, oh, I'll start the trip next week? If all you're saying is you want to get to Florida and I'm showing you the quickest route to get there, wouldn't the person who really wants to get to Florida really just take that route ASAP, same day, same time? Like, I'm going to get there in 12 hours sharp. I don't get it. Like, isn't it kind of like, duh, 1 + 1 is 2? So that's kind of how I look at it. Like, I feel like anytime you're in a position to meet somebody who's willing, because it's so hard to find people who are really willing to put you on or to help you, or mentor you or give you the real coaching, hold your hand, whatever. Anytime you experience someone who's genuine, because there is a lot of bullshit out there. I'm not saying buy into everybody or everything, but when you could feel it when it's sincere, when it's real, when you have an opportunity to work or mesh with somebody like that, take the freaking opportunity. Like, figure it out later. Like, what will come from that relationship could really change your whole life, change your whole world. And it's happened to me time after time after time. I invest every month. I spend an obscene amount of money in something that is just like, oh, did I really just pay that for that? But the connection that I make with whatever investment it was is always, it always pays off. And I'm always like, yes, another, like, yes, I'm so glad I did that. Like, I was scared as hell when I paid $4,000 for that or $3,000 or whatever. But I'm just like, yes, that one bit of advice, like, and I just wish more people would do that, you know? And that's how the rich keep getting richer, though, because it's like, we all have mentors. Like, that's the thing that people look at so gimmicky and so mentorship, like, why would I pay you? But it's like, bitch, I got what you want, right? Like, don't you want me to pay you? Like, I don't get it. People are just so stressful.
That's awesome, man.
That's so true.
It's true. It's 100%.
Like, people used to laugh at us because we bought courses. Like, people had like when we bought Ty Lopez's course, and like when we say, like, guys, if you want to do something, like, there's information for it, and people will be like, why would you do that? Like, you're
Ty Lopez, dude.
like, you're not rich yet. Like, okay, it's somebody rich today. Like,
oh my God, people just don't get it. But then they'll go to school and spend 8 years in school or 6 years in school and come out broke
and not have a job.
And feel like, yeah, I have a degree, a piece of paper. Do you have a job? No. Do you make $50,000 a year? No. Do you, are you out of debt? No. But you got a degree and your mom's happy for you now, so you feel accomplished? No. Like, that, it just doesn't work like that. Like, no.
And
you know,
it's that specialized knowledge. So, like, I'm reading Think and Grow Rich again. I'm my third time reading Think and Grow Rich. And one of the chapters, they talk about specialized knowledge, and they talk about, and I'm not bashing school. Like, school is good as long as you utilize it the right way. But especially in like public school, the information is free, which is why it doesn't make an impact on people that the way it should. And in the book, they talk about, you know, it's power to pay for specialized knowledge that will put you ahead of where you need to be at a much faster rate. So like, that's like a big thing that we always preach. Like, you have to go and get that other knowledge. You can't have the same knowledge everybody else has.
Yes.
It's going to hold you back. You got to go forward, and the only way to accelerate is to go get what the masses don't have.
Yes, you have to. You know, I tell my students all the time, like, I will forever be a student at this point, I'm obligated to, no matter what, I will always be a student of dropshipping, whether I move on to other ventures, whatever, as long as I'm selling that dropshipping course, I'm going to be a student of the game, because now I have an obligation to the people who have trusted me. So now, no matter what, I'm going to attend the seminars. I'm going to keep my mentor, which he wasn't going nowhere anyway, but I'm just going to stay very much in the industry because I need to stay current. I'm not going to be one of these people making $1 million selling their course with 2015 information in it. Like, I refuse. Like, my name is, people trust me. Like, I care about women. Like I said, we have a hard enough time. So I just want to be 100% transparent and real with the people who join my community. And I want to always make sure that I have my ear towards whatever my mentors have. That's the thing, like that specialized knowledge. When you invest in a mentor, you're essentially getting access to the people and the knowledge that you would have never ever had access to. These rich people don't know us. Like, we will probably never be in a room with the Bill Gateses and the whoever's all up here making billions and trillions of dollars. Like, but one of our mentors might be, or our mentors might be. And so when you trickle all that down, yes, it's like you have to, what'd you say?
Creating your own family tree.
Exactly.
Like the wealth generates wealth, like just because of the connections and the power. Like literally there are people going to prison and getting sued right now for getting their kids like into college, like for paying for it, right? And like, or having like for years, like getting people into college has been based on connection. Like, what do you put at the bottom of your job? Referrals. Like, it's like who you know with the information or the connections is so important. That's spot on, because your mentor might be there. Like, just like if you think about like your grandpa's grandpa, if they were to buy real estate and had been a real estate tycoon, your grandpa probably would have been. And like, they're not making more land, you'd probably be rich.
Are people like, oh, well, you know, they must have came from money, or, you know, their parents put them on. It's like, okay, but you have a person telling you they'll be your mentor. They'll be your mom. They'll be your put on person, your big brother, whatever. But then that's spammy or that's scammy, whatever. It's like your own family didn't do it. You're not even my blood, and I'm willing to teach you, but I'm going to do it for a little fee. And you're going to tell me, like, so you just don't want to progress in life is what you're saying. Like, I mean, it's sad that we don't all grow up with, you know, these fantastic butterflies and whistles and like, oh, here's $1 billion when you turn 21. Like, we don't all get that, I guess, but it's like, grow up. Like, now you have YouTube. Now you have people who you can communicate with. We're not like we're not prisoners. Break through. And if it's not in your group right now, go ahead and place yourself in a group that it is, so that you can, you know, collect this information organically. And that all it takes, like, we're communicating every day. We're on Instagram, meeting people all over the world every day. Oh my God, I'm calling my mom. Sorry. I look down and I see mom. No, like, you know, I slide in DMs all the time. I'm like the queen of sliding your DMs. If I have a question, I'm going to ask you. If I want to meet you, I'm going to ask you. If I want to link up, if I see you're an influencer in my city, I'm going to, and you do what I do, I'm going to DM you. Like, you don't have to respond. You don't have to say yes, but I am not going to say I want something and not go chase every avenue to get it. That's just, it's an oxymoron. Like, your actions and your goals, your wants have to be in line, or you're just not going to move. You're going to be sitting here like this. You really have to take action. You have to self-assess. You have to look at the people around you and ask yourself, what am I doing every day with my time, with my life, with the words that I speak, the words that I take in? Is this feeding my soul? Is this feeding my brain? Is this helping me? Is this going to lead me to $1 million idea one day, or $1 million business one day? You know, and I understand not everybody wants that. I don't understand why, but I do understand that there are people that don't need that to be happy. And it's a new thing for me. I didn't always, you know, get that. But as you meet and talk to new people and whatever, you realize that people all grew up differently. Sometimes people, you know, they just need enough money to survive, and that feeds their soul. And I totally respect that. In the beginning, I didn't. I thought that shit was so stupid and like they're done. But it's like, you can't change what makes people happy. You know what I'm saying? I just know I grew up in a way where I saw my mom work her ass off. And so to me, from a very early age, money was just like all you need to be happy, you know? And I did have to learn that that's not all you need. I will say that I had to take those lessons too, to realize, like, you know, as a woman, when you grow up how I grew up, you grow up as a woman chasing that. And when you chase that, you find yourself in situations that you shouldn't be in because you're chasing $1. And so that's a whole nother set of obstacles. You know what I'm saying? So that transition from going to chase the money versus chasing the feeling that money brings you. You can get that same glory, that same whatever, without chasing a dollar. You know what I'm saying? Chasing a dollar could lead you down a lot of dangerous, dark paths, you know? But when you chase the ultimate, like the ultimate big picture, and you realize like what that means to you, happiness, but why? Because you want a family, or you want the flexibility to be with your friends and family. You know, when it means something deeper to you and you see what that bigger picture is, it starts to like, if it manifests itself differently in your life. You know what I'm saying? When you out here just chasing dollars, you'll do anything. You'll strip, you'll do whatever, because it's just like you're chasing that dollar. I was never chasing the dollar to that extent, but I definitely had my moments where it's like, as a woman, shit hits the fan. And it's like, when you're that money hungry type of person, you be really willing to do whatever, you know? And so ultimately it's just a lot of self, reflection and hitting rock bottom multiple times. People look at it like, oh my God, I hit rock bottom, my life is over. As an entrepreneur, we're so used to that. It's like, I feel like I walk around in a damn bubble suit, just like I'm like a bobblehead, constantly being knocked over. And I do get down about it. I'm not going to lie. I be in here ready to fuck some shit up. My boyfriend's the chill one. He'd be like, babe, it's okay. Like, we'll get it back. I'm like, thank you. Are you sure? If only you knew how much I really fucked up. Like, but thank God I have a supportive spouse. But it's just like, I'm so used to getting knocked down at this point that it's just like, you just have to know how to pick up the pieces and keep it moving. Sometimes you need a step back. I never stop, but I will take a break mentally now. I'm just now learning to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not a pro at it. I'm never not working. I'm not going to sit here and lie and be like, I take a step back and just don't do anything. I don't know how to do that yet. I want to learn how to do it, because my people, like my mentors, keep telling me like, you do got to learn how to disconnect, like sometimes, at least a little bit. And I'm just like, I don't know how. Like, I don't. But, it's all a learning process. I'm so thankful to be on this journey. I want to learn more every single day. Like, there's never an opportunity that comes my way where I'm like above it, or below it, above it, whatever. I want to be spot on. I want every opportunity to find me. That's something I manifest. Like, let me have so many opportunities coming my way that I'm like overwhelmed with opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really prayed for that. I really wanted such an abundance of opportunities for me and Brandon that like literally they were beating at our door. I wrote down, I want deals. I want money making. I could go pull it. I remember writing this exactly. Like, I want money making opportunities to literally fall in my lap daily. That's exactly what I wrote. And literally that's damn near how it is, literally, like, and I'm just so blessed, because when you really want something, you find a way to manifest it into your life. And you just have to want it bad enough. You can't do your body, and God knows if you really want it. You know what I'm saying? You can't sit here and be like, I really want it. And not God see that you're not, the universe see that you're just sitting here fucking playing in makeup, picking your nose all day. You're not going to get $1 million. You're not. You have to really,
you gotta deserve it. Like, you gotta deserve it. You only get things once you're deserving of it. Like, once you put in the work, like once you take those daily steps. So I totally agree with that, because I come across people all the time and say, I want this, or I want to be in your position, which they have no idea. Like, it's hard. Like, people have no idea. Like you were saying, like it's a struggle. Entrepreneurship is a struggle, but like major struggle. But it's like, you guys aren't deserving of it. Like, you're saying it, but your actions don't match. Like, less talking, like more doing. So like, I have one more topic I want to hit on, because I think this is like a huge part in just your whole journey. It's the concept of support. And you mentioned it, because I think people don't need a bunch of people to support them, like, because it's not going to happen. When you're on your journey to success, nobody's really going to support you, but you will have a couple, 1 or 2, maybe 3 people that will support you. And we're actually, I won't go into detail what it is on here, because I don't know if it'll drop yet when this episode drops, but we're in the process of creating a accountability program for people, because that is important. Like, it's like there's people out here like with zero accountability, and it gets hard sometimes. So kind of explain the importance of support and give some tips on just the importance of it as a whole, just having just that one person and some things that people can do to support others on their journey.
Boy, One thing I will say is this is a little bit off the direction, but remind me if I go too far what your original question was. But I do want to say this. People will learn to support you when they respect what you stand for and when they see the passion. They may not understand it at first. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I thought my phone was so you start hearing things as an entrepreneur, you start going crazy. Sorry. Anyways, but yeah, like that drive, that sparkle in your eye, that hunger, that glow you get when you're working on something new or when you believe in something, you know, in the beginning, sometimes it turns people off. That's a struggle of mine. I hang out with new people in some way, somehow it always turns into business with me. Like I can only kiki and haha about, you know, irrelevant shit for so long before I'm like, so how can we get some money? My boyfriend be like, babe, like they don't even know us. Like you can't. And I'm like, why? Like, I don't really want to get to know them unless we could get some money together. But it's like when people start to see that that's what you stand for and that's what you're about, they will eventually come around. The ones that are meant to come around and be around you are going to support you eventually in whatever way that they know how to support, you know. And if for the ones that like need that initial like quick support and whatever, my own mom, I'm not going to say anything bad about her or anything like that. She just comes from a totally different you know, college, this, that, like cookie cutter type of situation. And she's also an entrepreneur, her and her husband, my stepdad. But I will say they haven't quite learned how to like be entrepreneurs without what's the word? Like without being like strapped to their business, so to speak. Like they're 24/7 working, you know what I mean? Like they've created a job for themselves, but they're entrepreneurs, you know? And so for them, they haven't really found the glory in entrepreneurship. To them, it's actually had a lot of hard moments. I mean, it has for all of us, but you know, when you're like a real slave to your business, it feels different because you feel like you're a fucking workhorse, you know, for your family, for your store, your business, whatever. And so, you know, as much as I know my mom wants to support and, you know, loves me to death, will give me her last, whatever. She's a super supportive person. The whole idea of me being an entrepreneur has always scared my mom. Always. And to me, I get it now that I'm a mom, I guess. Like you want the structure, the stability, the comfort zone for your kids and stuff. But to me, that always kind of caused a little bit of a rift with us. Like I only went to college to please my mom. I hid my acceptance letter under my damn bed. And one day I came home to find this lady on my bed crying, holding a letter. Oh, Chelsea. And I'm like, what? And she's like, well, you got accepted. And I was like, give me that. I took it, ran, cried, ripped it up. She's like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm just like, I can't believe you went under my bed. And so I went to college for her. But, you know, people want different things for us and people don't always understand our visions. You know, to this day, my mom knows how much money I make. She knows what I do. She knows this and that. She sees how we live, whatever. It's not enough for her. Like, you know, and, you know, it's not like she's up here or anything like that. It's just for her. It's always, Chelsea, you don't want to be a lawyer? You sure? You don't want to like, you sure? And I'm just, to me, that bothers me, you know, because I'm like, why can't you just see that I'm okay? Like, why can't you see I was smart enough to get this far? I'm going to plan for retirement. I'm going to put money away for summer. I'm going to do these things, Mom. I've already made so many good choices. Just support me. And so, yes, she is supportive and happy, but it's like people don't always know what we need, you know? And so before we put so much emphasis on like what we need from other people, we need to find it within ourselves, because at the end of the day, we are the ones that are going to make it happen. No level of support don't pay bills. Like at the end of the day, it is nice to know we're not in this alone. It is nice to know that blah, 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 but it has to be something that comes from within you that's telling you you're not going to give up and you're going to get there. And for me, you know, it was hard when we didn't figure it out yet and we were wasting so much money. I had my mom in my ear all the time, like, Chelsea, you know, like one about my boyfriend, like, yeah, she loved Brandon, but my mom has seen me go down this road many times before, you know, like this ain't the first felon. This ain't the first rodeo I've been on. Okay. So she's seen this type of situation play out in my life several times. And for her, it's like I never could catch a break when it came to the support, because my decisions were just kind of always like the ugly duckling type in my family. And everybody just looked at me like, why do you want to live this life? You know, you keep doing shit that like you weren't raised to do. And so, you know, it's hard not having that support. But at the end of the day, you live one life. You have to know what you want for your life. And that has to be a burning desire within your heart that turns into an obsession, like you said. And if it's not, then yes, you will always seek validation from other people and things like that. And I love having an accountability partner. I think that that's honestly, it's amazing. It's great, because on your days where you're feeling like you want to give up or you're tired or whatever, you have someone who has the same work ethic as you, who's like, come on, girl, like, let's go, come on. Or, you know what, go ahead and take a few hours. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do this or whatever, however y'all have the structure set up. It is great, but it's not mandatory in the sense where if you don't have it, you should just give up on entrepreneurship, you know, because at the end of the day, it does come from within you. And just like with a relationship, if you don't love yourself and if you don't have it in you, how can you bring someone else as a boyfriend, girlfriend into your life? Like, how can you hold them accountable? You can't even, it all boils down to you. If you can't hold yourself accountable for your own mistakes, who are you to tell somebody else, you know, how to be accountable? Like, you have to pick an accountability partner that is genuinely a partner and genuinely has the same work ethic as you and the same hunger and drive, because an accountability partner can suck you down too. You know what I'm saying? Like, they can really have you thinking that they want the same things. And then when you see that their actions don't measure up because they're your partner and now y'all form this bond or whatever, you be feeling like it's okay to slack because your accountability partner's slacking and she's still straight. No, like, you have to pick. And, you know, I almost did a live on this earlier. Like, you have to be very, very careful with who you go into business with, who you partner up with, who you let in your space, because not everybody has the same level of work ethic. Not everybody has the same why. Not everybody has the same level of motivation. Not everybody has the same money in the bank. Not everybody has the same level of comfort with the money that they have in the bank. You know, people will trick you. I've been tricked many, many times. So it's like, you know, you have to just be very, very careful and find someone who genuinely matches your hustle and matches your drive. And together you guys can fucking accomplish anything. But a bad partner I'd much rather work by myself than work with somebody who's going to kind of slow me down. That's a big, you know, you don't want to be slowed down. And be careful with like combining the friendship and the business thing, because things can get kind of hairy in that sense, you know, but you have to have boundaries in business. I've learned that. My CPA is the one that kind of taught me that, you know. I when we were analyzing some bookkeeping one day, she's like, you know, I don't think I want to talk to you about something, and this is kind of outside my whatever, but I've been noticing something. And I'm like, what? And she's like, you have a lot of partners, and I think you're confusing partnership with members, or no, team members. And I was like, that's a good point, because I don't know the difference. You know what I mean? Like, I've never taken a business class. I don't know this shit. Like, I'm learning as I go too, you know? So learning as you go comes with not only like the financial bumps, but also just like the growth. You don't know. You're going to make bad business decisions, the LLC stuff, the this and that. I'm still trying to learn all that crap. Like, it makes my head spin, you know? So with that being said, I've made bad partnership decisions. I've made decisions that have set me back, but she really had to break it down and be like, look, a partnership is 100% two people giving 100%. Y'all both literally do everything the same. If you put a $5 into ad spend today, they're going to put $5 in tomorrow. If you know what I'm saying? It's 100% go. I was wrong for that. Like, I was making everybody my partner. I was paying people in percentages, thinking partner, when really you're a team member to make my business go. I need you 100%, but you're just a portion of this whole vehicle. You're not even doing close to what I'm doing. Like, you're giving me one real good, you know, portion of my business. You're an amazing asset for this one little thing right here, but we're not partners, you know? And so you have to be really careful with who you go into business with, but more so who you trust to keep you accountable and on top of your game, you know? But I definitely think that one thing I heard, I think it was at Thrive, and it leads to like the first point that I started to make, you know, when we manifest things and we talk about things out loud, not in like a weird, annoying way, but basically when we live our walk and walk our talk and we really make it a lifestyle, you know, the people around you will notice. And just like with Naveen Jain, you know, how he's not the doctor, he's not this, but he stood so strong in his truth, and he like lived it, talked about it, studied it, and became so radiant with the you know, energy that was associated with this new thing he was working on, that the right people came to him. And there's always, I can't remember if I read it or if I heard this at Thrive, I don't know, but like there's always someone that's going to be around you that has the power or the knowledge, even if they know, if it's not them directly, if they know somebody that would be able to change your situation. You're always going to find yourself, you may not know it, you're not going to know it, there's always somebody that has a connection to something or someone that can help you get to where you want to be faster. But closed mouths don't get fed. And if you're not talking about your passion, if you're not talking about where you want to be in life, that guy at Starbucks that's in the line behind you that might be a $1 trillion investor isn't going to know to be like, hey, buddy, like, I like what you're talking about. Like, you want to talk about a loan or something? You're not going to have the opportunity because you're sitting there not ever living in you're not breathing it, you're not speaking life into that project, you know? So you really have to like be out here, like, you know, if you're not where you want to be yet, don't be in your house cooped up trying to figure it out. Go do that at Starbucks. Let somebody walk by you and be like, hey bro, I seen you in here for the past week, what are you working on? That one person might just like your drive, even if he
right.
you have $0 in your pocket, but he's going to see how dedicated you are 8 a.m. every day at Starbucks. You know, that stands out. That type of behavior is, I mean, somebody might think you're a creep, or they're going to, but either way, you're going to get noticed. And so, you know, there's always going to be somebody in your life that has the position or power to help you move one step further. And right. It's all about the energy that you put out. It will attract the person that you need it to attract, just like it did with Naveen Jain. And now look at the impact he's making on all of our lives, you know? Right. So
you create your own support.
Yeah.
That's what it's boiling down to, is like you really create your own support, because the people who think you support you will like fall off. And
I swear, it's so true. Yeah, you can't sweat that shit. You really can't. You know,
you just can't accept it.
You gotta accept it.
So I mean, we could keep going all day. Like, this is so good. This is so good. So we're gonna have to do a round 2. But speaking of support, Chelsea, where can they find you on social media? What is your social media handle? What can they expect from you in the future?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so social media, Honeygold, HUNIGOLD. Honeygold is my Instagram handle. What you can expect in the future is just more of me being me, and me being a super real person, because at the end of the day, I'm nothing more than a normal ass girl, brand new mom, still trying to figure life out, still trying to balance motherhood, being a girlfriend, being an individual, and an entrepreneur. It's a lot, you know. I'm superhuman, like, as in super basically.
Hey, but moms are superhumans too. Moms are
superhuman too, yes, but that's not what I meant. So what you can expect from me is just I'm a workhorse. I want to be able to spit out. I want project after project. I want content for my followers. I want to paint the most real depiction of what it is to go from being, you know, a normal 9-to-5 person with a go-getter spirit, transitioning into someone who's creating a life that she wants to live for her and her family. And, you know, I just want to be able to expose. My ultimate goal is Millie Moms. It's something that I have wanted to do ever since we made that first sale. Our passion has always been, I remember he was like, oh my God, like, I just got to tell my homeboys about this. Because all his homeboys, they all did the same thing, you know? And immediately that's what it turned into. Like, whoa, like, should we start a nonprofit or something? Like, all we cared about was the felons and the minorities and the people who just didn't know about it. Period. That's all. We were just like, we just need to go, like, should we go to Chicago and like go on a megaphone and just be like, e-commerce, like, do it. What should we do? But that's all I wanted to do, was just help the underdog. And so that's, you know, what eventually went into coining the term Millie Moms with one of my partners. And Millie Moms is something, you know, I don't know if I could use that name because we're not all doing it as a unit anymore. We just all have too many projects going on separately to kind of do it together. So I might have to change the name, but ultimately that's my vision, is to help 1 million moms learn about e-commerce. So I don't know how I'm going to get there. I don't know, you know, where I'll be in the end grand scheme of things, but I know ultimately that is my goal, is to help women and people, whatever, but 1 million moms learn about e-commerce, because being at home with your children is something I'm so blessed to be able to experience. I don't miss a beat. I don't miss a spit up, a snotty nose, a dirty diaper. I don't miss anything. And I just wouldn't want any mom to have to, if it was her choice. Like, some people love working and that's great. But if you're someone who goes to work depressed and sad, and I can't imagine when I'm going to have to eventually leave her to go to school or something. But it's like, for the people who don't want to experience that, like, you don't have to, and you shouldn't have to, because our kids need us, our families need us. And it's not fair that women have to go leave their kids and go to work and stuff while their babies are with whoever. And it's just a hard thing for me to grasp, you know, for what it would be like for a mom to have to do that. And that's 99% of moms that have to do that. You know, you get a short little maternity period and then bye. And that our babies need us. Like, no, it cannot be that way. So if, you know, my goal is to just keep trying to make that transition seem as real and not scammy as possible, so that more people can believe in themselves enough to take that risk, that chance, that whatever. And yeah, ultimately help as many moms as I can.
Wow. Well, thank you. And then like, thank you for like telling your story. Like, I feel like so many women are going to be impacted by this, and like, we're definitely gonna have to do a round two.
Yeah.
Like, for sure. Like a part two. And our, you know, soon to be released accountability program, we're sure you could be an amazing lesson, you know, in the course as well for people. Just, definitely. I mean, young women could learn so much from your story and everything that you've done, including, you know, supporting, like one final thought that I want to leave our guests with is, like, when Josh mentioned support, what came to my mind is you had every reason not to support somebody that you cared about on paper, and you still chose to do that. And in society, like, we are taught, you know, men are supposed to be breadwinners and everything. And then that opportunity was literally stripped away, and you put the pressure on yourself, and a pressure that you didn't have to do. And you created something so amazing. And now you want to create it for other people. Like, you guys immediately thought of felons. You thought of all those other people. The magnitude that speaks to, that's what this show is about. Like, you can change not only your life, but the people closest to you's life, and the ripple effect of thousands and then millions of people as well. So I'm really grateful to have heard that and to see that you guys are doing that firsthand.
Thank you. That's awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate y'all even taking the interest. I've never done a podcast. This is my very first. Hopefully it leads to millions and millions more, but I'm very honored to, you know, be on y'all's platform and to be exposed to your network of people, because that just helps spread the word, like you said, even more. And I know that's clearly what y'all stand for if you have a podcast. So I think that's super awesome. You know, I didn't really understand the power of podcasts until I started going to these events and stuff like that. And it's just amazing that you can create a platform, once again, entrepreneur minded, where you can create something. You don't even need a skill. If you didn't, not to say y'all don't have a skill, but you can do this without having a skill and learn so much through other people, to where you're just sharpening your own skill set, you know, just living through the mistakes of the people that you're interviewing. So I think that's brilliant. I think it's so smart. I think it's so dope, and it's very impactful. And so kudos to you guys too.
Yeah. And guys, definitely, you got to follow Chelsea Honey Gold. That's an awesome name, by the way. You guys got to follow her. And thank you for your time. We're going to stop the recording and head into the studio.
All right, you guys. Have a great day. Thank you.
See you guys.
And we're back. So the first thing that comes to mind for me from Chelsea's episode is by all means necessary.
Yeah.
I mean, their story is so incredible. What they could have done and chose not to do it the right way. And that is mind blowing, because when we talk about entrepreneurship, everybody's chasing the money, but they chased what was right at the same time. Do you have any key takeaways from her story?
Man, honestly, the biggest key takeaway is that it's so important to just take a leap and invest in yourself any type of way possible. Because, like, what are the chances of her picking up a book and going through 1,000 ways to make money at home, and she come across, what she's doing now, which is dropshipping, and it literally changed her life forever just from that simple investment, just because she was just like, oh, sounds cool, I'll get it. And she had no idea it would turn into something way bigger than that. And now she's helping herself along with helping other women and moms and doing a lot of great things. Yeah.
And for me, the takeaway was the people too. Like, we always emphasize the information and the people, and she also chose to go to events and chose to put herself out there and be uncomfortable, and lo and behold, she met that one person that had a little bit more information than her and had a little bit more experience, and it completely revolutionized like her life and what she was doing. And to me, that was just incredible.
Yep.
It was just incredible. So, guys, if you loved Chelsea's episode, you can follow her at Honey Gold on everything. She said that on the Zoom recording, but it's HUNI Gold, GOLED. She's an awesome example of a mom, an entrepreneur, a partner, a spouse. I mean, she had some great things to say too about her relationship, and we were super excited to have her on the show. You guys can follow us at MindFluxed everywhere on everything, MINDFLUXED. Our audio is brought by at Benji Got Beats, and I'm everywhere at T-Parm Teach. Where can they find you?
You can find me at Iam.jmet on Instagram.
There's no bow though at the end of the year.
There's no bow.
No bow. All right, guys, we'll see you next week.
Peace.